Now, I'm a little bit worried that the Earth is getting a little bit too hot. I sometimes think that even 1.5 degrees C is going to be more than we want it to be, and I'm not so sure about that.
Don't you worry about that, good man. There ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of heat. You know, these days, it's 15 degrees Celsius, 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the temperature of Earth. It might be getting, 2.5 degrees Celsius? That ain't no big. In the past, in the Hadean era, it was 230 degrees Celsius. So no, I am not worried about 2.5 degrees Celsius, okay?
Well, I'm not so sure about that. I mean, I think even a little bit of heat is just too much, and the total amount of carbon that's being emitted into our atmosphere is much more than it was. It's much more.
You worried about carbon? That's what you're worried about right now? There's a little bit of carbon? I ain't worried about carbon, okay? Back in the Hadean Eon, we had lots of carbon. These days we've gone from something like 300 parts per million to 450? Okay, 1.5x, not bad. Back then, in the Hadean, we had 30,000 parts per million, 100 times what we have today. And they were fine. Life began then. So no, I am not worried. If anything, we are just making the Earth great again. We started with 230 degrees Celsius. We started with 30,000 parts per million of CO2, and now we're just returning to whence we came. So why would I be worried about that? There's no reason. Earth has done this before, okay? These are natural processes, just like we had during the Hadean Eon, back when life was formed. I thought that this would be kind of a fun way to talk about the Hadean Eon. You know, people these days will say things like, oh, climate change is just a normal thing. It's just a normal process. The Earth's been hot before, you know, which is true. And I just think it's a funny way to think about the original hot Earth, which was really, really hot, 230 degrees Celsius, 450 degrees Fahrenheit. It's enough to cook veggies in your oven. And also the original Earth, which had 30,000 parts per million of CO2, 100x what it is today. And so I just think it's a funny way to say, yes, climate change is happening. Yes, we are going to get hotter, and that is bad. And it's not really a normal human process. And it's the most extreme version of that is the Hadean Eon, which was a crazy time when the moon hit the Earth. And asteroids were hitting the Earth every 10 million years and causing, these massive tsunamis. That is what things were like, and climate change is not going to bring us to that point. So I apologize for any if you thought that my glasses were weird. Sorry for all the nerds out there who I made fun of. Sorry for all the Southerners. I'm not from the South, I'm from Colorado. Apologies, and don't look up. If you like this content, thank you to the supporters of Root for supporting this kind of content. If you want to learn more about how everything evolved, we are about to dive into the start of Earth, and during the Hadean period, that's when Earth was formed. Right at the end of the Hadean, after the late heavy bombardment, after all these asteroids were hitting the Earth, we got a bunch of water came to the Earth from those asteroids, a bunch of carbon came to the Earth from all the carbon being around, and water and carbon, that makes life. And so we start to get life, and so we're going to dive into that in the upcoming episodes. How do we go from no life to life? Abiogenesis, a very interesting process. So if you're excited by that, subscribe for more, or if you want to learn how we got to this point, feel free to check out these old episodes. Thanks.